Hey, yo, Breezy. Want to learn about pollination and fertilization?
Sure. I guess that sounds cool.
There is like two main ways a plant can pollinate. The first is self-pollination. That happens when the anther or male part gives off pollen and fertilizes the stigma, the female part of the same flower.
Whoa, that is crazy. What is the second kind?
The second kind is cross-pollination. This happens when animals and insects like birds, bees, butterflies, wasps, and bats go searching for nectar to eat in the flower. As they fly from flower to flower, they carry pollen with them and that attaches to the stigma and, bam, the flower is pollinated.
That is interesting.
But that's not all. What I explained was only animal pollination, a type of cross-pollination. The other type of cross-pollination is wind pollination, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Well, I still don't know what it is, so you should explain it anyways.
If you say so. Wind pollination is for flowers that don't have the nectar that animals want. Instead, they have large amounts of lightweight pollen that gets carried from flower to flower by the course of the wind. The stamen in these wind-pollinated flowers often hang below the petals so they're exposed to the wind. The stigma are also a lot larger so the pollen will be more likely to land on them.
Wow. How do you know so much about this?
I had a great science teacher in high school. His name was Mr. Stan.
So, what about fertilization?
Slow your roll. I was getting to that. Once pollination happens, then the pollen can form a pollen tube. A pollen tube is a small tube which grows inside the style, down towards the ovary. Once it reaches the ovary and penetrates the ovule, it releases the male gametes, also known as sex cells, which can possibly fertilize the ovule.
Are you sure you aren't getting the parts confused with women's parts?
I know it seems like it since women have ovaries, but plants have them too, and they both hold the things that gametes need to fertilize to make offspring.
Oh, I think I understand it now. But how exactly does the ovule get fertilized?
Good question. As the pollen tube is growing, the reproductive nucleus goes through mitosis, creating two non-flagellated sperm nuclei. These are inside the mature male gametophyte. When the pollen tube finally reaches the ovary, it releases the two sperm nuclei. One forms a zygote, while the other forms a triploid in the center of the ovule. Since two different fertilizations occurred, this is called double fertilization, which only happens in an antherphyte egg.
Ah, I see. What happens next?
Next, many cell divisions produce a clump of cells that eventually develop into a long embryo, with one cotyledon in monocots, and two cotyledons in eudicots. Also, the triploid in the center of the ovule undergoes cell divisions and produces endosperm, which gives the embryo nourishment.
So, the embryo is inside the seed and gets nourished by the endosperm?
Exactly.
So is that the end?
Not quite. We've still got some more to cover. As the endosperm matures, the outside layers of the ovule harden, creating the seed coat. Next, as the ovule develops into a seed, changes happen in the ovary which lead to the formation of the fruit.
Ooh, I love fruit.
And even better than the taste, they can help spread seeds. The fruits can be eaten by an animal and pass through the digestive system without being damaged. Then, they are passed to the soil through the animal's waste, which can then grow into a new plant. Other seeds have special adaptations where they can be transported by water or wind.
That's pretty cool. Is that the end now?
Sorry, but not quite. There is one last process called germination. Germination is when the embryo in the seed starts to grow, resulting in the new plant. Many factors affect how the germination process goes. The seed needs water to absorb and break the seed coat or transport materials to help it grow. Temperature also affects how it goes. Some plants need cold soils, some need warm soils, while others can survive in both. Last, the embryo starts to grow outside the seed and grows into a plant.
Holy cow. Sounds kind of complicated. But I think I understand.
Well, I'm glad I can make it easier for you. I think that's all you need to know about pollination and fertilization.
I learned so much from you. If you made a project about this, you would deserve extra credit.